Hello YouTube, so welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna react to, okay, I never watched this channel. His name's Mujin, M-U-J-I-N. That's how you spell it. And this is the story of the idol murdered in broad daylight, Ai Mogami. I heard about this, and I've seen like Western media even try to report on this. They said, except Western media, like always, didn't get it right. I mean, this is a Japanese case, I guess. So I've heard like people saying what actually happened, and it just sounded fucked up. Like I don't know all the details. I just know. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say what happened. So basically, this idol slash streamer, influencer, whatever, she had this parasocial fan that she was taking advantage of, and let's just leave it at that. I'll let the video speak for itself, but yeah, Western media tried to report on this, and they tried to say it was other things. It was like, oh, this guy was misogynist and just didn't like her because, you know, Western media, fucking Western journalists fucking it up. At least that's what I heard was going on here. But yeah, let's just start the video. I'll try to not pause as much. I'll try.
Of absolute shock.
It's a habit.
On the 11th of March 2025,
I mean, it's difficult for me.
A 22-year-old influencer by the name of Ai Mogami was stabbed live on stream in broad daylight Japan. It's already quite rare to find a murder in this country, but what's even more rare is a violent.
It's usually safe to walk the streets in Japan.
Over 30 times. So it's no wonder that people weren't just shocked, they were visibly confused. Everyone's asking themselves, how did this happen? What led this person
there's the guy that did it.
Such a violent act? But the publications are asking themselves the same questions, with many Western ones like the New York Times not having any of the important details when reporting on it, making this out to be yet another parasocial case, with some even saying that it's another case of misogyny, but it's not that simple.
It's not.
In fact, this incident goes back years.
There's more to it.
The man and had a hand in making him gradually lose his mind up until this point. It doesn't get crazier than this, and we're going to talk about everything from the beginning, so let's do this. So Airi Sato was a 22-year-old live streamer who went by the name Ai Mogami online. The website she used to stream was whowatch.tv. Japanese people typically call it Fuwatch. She was very active on there and was one of its top performers. Before passing away, she had reached around 2,600 followers, which is apparently really big for this website. Her main area of expertise was just chatting streams, talking to her chat and interacting with them. Sometimes she'd do these creative challenges, going outdoors or talking to strangers, but in a nutshell, for her, it was all about her community. And speaking of community, this is where Kenichi Takono comes in.
So there's the guy that did it.
A 42-year-old man who had found her stream and really liked her personality. He had found her in December of 2021 and very quickly started to donate money to show his support. At his peak, he was donating over 100,000 yen a month.
Jesus Christ.
That is not a small amount of money today, being $674, but back then, when the yen was stronger, it was closer to $1,000 per month. This quickly caught Ai's attention because at the time, she wasn't a full-time streamer yet, she was still working at a restaurant. After having donated over 400,000 yen to her in the first few months of 2022, Ai decided to reach out to Takano directly and message him on the Line app. This is when they would first get in touch. For both of them, this was the beginning of the end. This is when their problematic relationship would start to take place. And now we have access to these conversations because they leaked after the incident. On September 2022, she would start to ask him to lend her money directly, not through tipping on the stream, directly to her bank account.
So yeah. So this is what I heard. She was borrowing money from this guy. I don't know how bad it gets, but it led to this guy going insane, I guess. Basically, okay, so like in the Western stuff, like the journalist kept trying to say, oh, she was an idol that got killed by a misogynist or whatever the fuck. That wasn't what happened. So what actually happened was she was kind of a terrible person. she was taking advantage of this guy who was parasocial and probably not even really that stable. Well, clearly he wasn't stable, but yeah. Oh god. Now I'm just gonna say it right here. I don't think this person deserved to die, but she did some horrible stuff. It's all I know. Again, I'm gonna learn the details now.
The first examples of this was her saying that she forgot her wallet at her job and that she's really strapped for cash, saying that she'll pay him back as soon as the next day or the day after. She also specified,
She's not going to, is she?
To the cash card I have at home, preferably right now. This was at 7 p.m. on September 8th, 2022. Within a minute, Takano responded, "Can I just transfer it now?" Asking how much do you need, and her saying that she needs a few tens of thousands of yen. But this was only the beginning, and guess what? Even though she said that she was going to repay him the day after or the day after that, she didn't. She only kept asking for more. Not even 6 days after saying that she had lost her wallet and needed a few thousands to last her for the next day, she went ahead and asked for another 20,000 yen. But she wouldn't take no for an answer. He said he couldn't do it with his card, and then she was like, "Well, what about a direct transfer from your bank account?" And Takano would always find a way. She would do this almost every week for a while, right? Here asking for 50,000 yen. The amount would always keep going up, and the excuses would get crazier. Like, for example, this is a bad translation, but this is her pretty much saying that her sister's pregnant and she can't take care of the baby, so she needs money to help her. And
oh my god. Yeah, okay. So yeah, she's just she's never gonna pay this man back. And like, cause she said she'd pay him back and then he never got paid back, but this dude's so like parasocial and unstable, like he's probably got a lot of shit going on that made him like that. I don't fucking know. I don't know anything about this guy. He could just be crazy to begin with. But at the same time, we know what happens, and she also shouldn't have been taking advantage of this dude by just oh god, it's not good. It's not good. Like she knows this guy will not refuse, and she's just gonna take advantage of that and keep not paying him back. That's what I'm gonna assume happened. Like, it gets so bad that she never pays him back.
Still, Takano would send her
It's
money.
terrible.
And around more than a month after starting to ask him for money, not only did she keep insisting, things started to get very disturbing. Takano would send Ai a message saying, "I'm worried," and this was in relation to his financial situation after giving her so much money. So she responded by saying, "Hey, where did you get the money from?" And here's what he had to say. This right here is a bad translation, but what he's saying is Eiffel and Raiku, two of the biggest and most well-known loan companies in Japan. This meant that Takano had been taking out loans to send her money whenever she would ask, because she was asking so consistently and he didn't have a stable job. So what does she respond with? She says, "I want you to borrow from another company, different from Eiffel and Raiku, because I need..."
Okay, that's just awful. That's just evil. Like, again, she knows this guy is... I mean, this guy should have just said no to begin with. Like he's just so parasocial that he kept loaning her money, even though I'm sure he knew he should have just said no at the very start. I don't know. This guy clearly had mental issues, and then she was just taking advantage of that. Like, oh, there's like so many things that could have been done to prevent this, but... Well, one, this is not good, though. I'm just gonna say it's not good. I kind of don't know what to say about it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
50,000 yen
It's
right now,
bad.
arguing that she has loans to pay. So she saw that he was indebted to two different credit companies, and instead of saying, "You know what, you should stop," she asks him to get indebted to a third company too. And this is when he reveals something even more disturbing. He says, "It's really tough. In fact, soon it will be revealed that I lied and borrowed it." So to get the loan, he had to fake his income and other details about his employment. And again, this was her chance to say, "You know what? Let's lay off this. I'll find someone else, or I'll find another solution." No, she triples down and says, I looked into it, and it turns out that if you have a job that qualifies you as a self-employed person or you're receiving the money in a tax-friendly way, you can still borrow the money even if you can't prove it, so it
She's
wouldn't be a
helping him
lie.
get
And
into
he
debt.
specified very clearly, I lied about my annual income and working hours. But the conversation still goes on, and she keeps insisting. Even if you don't have your personal information registered as a regular employee, you can still pass the screening, and it's often impossible to confirm, so there's no way they'll find out if it's true or not. I went through because I couldn't confirm it. So I want to point out the fact that she was an expert at this, as if she's done this multiple times before. Even a financial advisor wouldn't know all this. So it does beg the question, was he her only victim at this point? We still don't know. He also states that he's been ignoring...
That's a good point. She seems to know what she's doing, so has she done this to someone else before? This is kind of... So, yeah, like... She is clearly not a good person. She is not good. And then this guy has no self-control because he is extremely parasocial. Oh, this is just fucked.
The credit companies, and that he'll probably be getting a lump sum bill because he's been ignoring them. Also specifying that the billing address that he put was his parents' house. So his entire family was implicated at this point, but she just didn't care. He says, I'm getting scared of lying to borrow money now. And then she says, there's nothing I can do. I did it once. And then Takano says, so whatever happens, happens. So at this point, yeah, you might be asking yourself many questions. Why is this guy doing this? Well, look, from all the text messages that leaked, he wasn't perverted. He never asked for any nudes or anything weird. It seemed that he just really liked watching her streams. She reached out to him for help, and he just couldn't say no. But even if he wanted to say no, she was very good at emotionally manipulating him, as evidenced by these messages. Look at this. He tells her in the beginning of November 2022 that he had applied to Raiku, right, the credit agency, to get more money to gift to her. She replies with, yeah, with this emoji. Takano then says, I hope I can borrow it, with a cute emoji. 15 minutes later, what does she reply with? She says, I want to die if I can't borrow money. Takano says,
Okay, this is just... So now she's suicide baiting her parasocial fan that's giving her a shit ton of money or something like that. Yeah, she was terrible.
Don't say that. I replies with, I want to do it. So this is complete and utter emotional manipulation. This is disgusting. But obviously, it gets worse. He falls asleep briefly for around more than an hour. He says, I fell asleep, then says, I stay alive. Then she says, Takano, I can't live without you.
Oh my god, she's like literally...
Happy. Me too, I can't live without you. And then I, Megami, finishes off the conversation by saying, thank you as always. I love you. Yeah. I don't think it's too crazy to assume that Takano might have thought that she was into him, that she, I don't know, appreciated him as more than a friend. Maybe that's what he was hoping for, but he never really expressed that in text messages. He was...
So yeah, she knows how to manipulate, like, her parasocial fans. I'm starting to think she has done this before. Like, again, people just assumed, oh, this idol got murdered by someone who just hates her for no reason. And no, getting more details on this, like, again, I don't think anyone should have died with this situation, but this dude was clearly not going to be mentally stable. Like, I assume he got put in debt really bad.
Fantasy was cut short when the creditors came knocking. He had given her over 2.5 million yen, and back then that was over $20,000, with 1 million yen out of those 2.5 million being from creditors. So around the end of January 2023, he started asking for his money back, at least gradually, not all of it at once, saying, hey, listen, tomorrow, please start to pay me back. I replies with, sorry, can it be 2 days instead? He says, well, okay, fine.
She's not going to pay him.
On the 2nd of February. Then on the 2nd of February, he says, please deposit. What's going on? You said on the 2nd, so I moved it to the 2nd. The next day, he says, please give me the money back. And on the 5th of February, he says, you're not going to pay me back anymore? Imogami then replies, this is a really bad translation. What she actually said was, no, I am going to give it back. And then Takano says, Is that so? This is when she would pretty much ghost him. She would not reply to him anymore. 6 days later, Takano says, I'm barely making ends meet, so unless you transfer the money, I won't be able to pay anything in advance. Please transfer the money. A couple days later, I guess I won't get my money back. A few days later, are you willing to refund the money? Nothing. He was just talking to a brick wall. But of course, for him, it only got worse. Not only were the creditors after him, but he was witnessing her live stream and get a lot of money from live streams, while at the same time celebrating the fact that she had found a fiancé, that she was about to get married, and that they both were living in a high-rise apartment together, meaning that she was financially well off, and yet he hadn't seen a single cent returned from her.
Okay, so one detail I do know is she was one of the top streamers on that website, and she was making a decent amount of money at, well, I believe it said earlier in the video when this guy first started talking to her, she was working in a restaurant, and just, I think that was when she started streaming, I don't know, but, yeah, she started ghosting him, and she was actually financially doing well, and that's kind of fucked, and she just didn't want to repay the... Sorry, hiccups. Let me see if I... Of course, my water's on the other side of the room. Oh well. Yeah, she actually didn't really need to borrow money. She just wanted money. And she was financially doing good, as he just said. So this is all fucked. She probably could have repaid him at one point. Like, at one point when this all started, she could have repaid some of the money and it wouldn't have been a shit ton. But no. No. Like, her character gets worse when you find out the truth, because you find out she was manipulating this unstable parasocial fan that I don't... If any of y'all ever become like a streamer and you hit it big, don't do this. This is just evil. This is just like really fucking evil. And again, she's financially well off. She could have paid him back, but she didn't want to.
Takano was very frustrated, understandably, and losing a lot of hope. But interestingly enough, he sought to resolve this legally. He had lent her money, he was in big financial trouble, but in 2023, he sued her in order to get his money back. And in December of 2023, he actually won the lawsuit. The judge had ordered her to pay him
he won
everything he's lent her, so 2.5 million yen, with an interest rate of 3% per year from December 8th, 2023 until the payment is made. So the court fully sided with Takano. He was completely in the right, because at the time he had no stable income and was living in poverty. So obviously him winning that lawsuit was a relief. At least it seemed that way until he realized that it didn't really change much. Imagami would start to reference this lawsuit on stream sometimes in a passive-aggressive manner, saying things like, I borrowed money and I'm going to court, or the comments from a certain individual saying give me my money back were so awful that I blocked him using the block function. She would even say that all she had to do was pay back all the money to get rid of this lawsuit in a nonchalant tone, as if it wasn't a big deal. The reality of these two could not be more different. In the court records of this lawsuit, Takano had said, I had feelings for her and wanted to help her if she was in trouble, and there she was nonchalantly saying, yeah, I guess I just have to pay it back. Additionally, since Takano watched her streams regularly, he understood that she was making a lot of money through tips and donations. She had a platinum badge on FuWatch, which meant that she was one of the platform's top streamers.
So she was a very successful streamer, and again, they said earlier, she's actually financially well off.
There are multiple ranks on this website, right? And typically when you get to the point where
the top
was, you're making a monthly income of 300,000 to 400,000 yen in donations. And still, he was seeing nothing. Even though the court had ordered her to pay him back, he was not seeing a single cent. But obviously, the salt in the wound did not end here. She had a Twitter account that is private, so we don't know much about it. But some people found another Twitter account of hers that was fully about poker, with the first post she had posted on this account being her holding a bag full of chips worth 542,000 yen. So that could explain where a lot of Takano's money might have gone. So at this point...
she had a gambling problem, and that's why she kept asking him for money. Maybe, I don't know. I don't fucking. Again, she earned a good amount of money, and she probably could have paid him off, paid him back. But she probably had a gambling problem. It's always the gambling problem that gets people killed. Like, what the fuck?
Takano felt completely cornered. He had tried to help someone who he really liked, getting indebted to 2 different companies and living in poverty, and even though he had gone through the legal means of getting his money back, nothing had changed, and he was seeing the same woman who scammed him and played with his feelings continue to stream and thrive, making a lot of money monthly. Eventually, during the year of 2024, something had cracked in him, and in 2025...
he went crazy.
He sent her one final message on March 7th, 2025, blaming himself for falling in love and being deceived, and asking her one last time, please give me my money back. I'm in the negative because of the consumer loans I borrowed to lend to you, and I can't live. Asking, can you somehow pay me back at least 10,000 yen, which is not even like $100? Adding that he'd been taking a lot of pills recently and had been sleeping all day because of how depressed he was. But of course, he was ignored. 4 days later, Aimagami had gone live, streaming around the Shinjuku area. Takano saw this, recognized the area, and decided to go pay her a visit. He took Oyama Station, which was the closest to him, and rode close to 2 hours down to Shinjuku. She was initially streaming around the Takanadobaba station, but then made her way down to the Shin Okubo station. So he took the metro, and he followed her. This is a map that kind of tells you how it happened. He started here, he went down here. She kept walking this way, and so then he followed her that way too. And that's where the incident took place. Eventually, he was able to make out where she was streaming from, so he made his way to her tripod setup, and that's where he struck. Multiple times, repeatedly, violently, with a blank look in his eyes. The knife he had used was 13 centimeters in length. He showed up with a backpack, and there were 2 other knives in there as well. He had stabbed her over 30 times in the neck, in the chest, in the shoulder, and initially she was screaming help, but then went silent. And I mean, think about that for a second. 30 times, just doing the same motion over and over again. That's not normal, right? None of this is normal. This is very violent, and the fact that he had a very blank stare made it worse. In fact, he kept talking to her as she was laying on the ground. At that point, the screen was completely black. You could hear sirens in the background, and you could also hear him asking her, while she lay on the ground, "Are you dead yet?" while kicking her. To say that there was fear and confusion is an understatement. The entire place was swarmed with police and paramedics. And to add to the confusion, people didn't even know who was actually stabbed. This tweet right here with almost 500,000 views said that she was a voice actress and a live streamer, stabbed by an anti-fan while streaming on the Japanese side.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Aimagami was not a voice actress, she was a live streamer. And that's because they were confusing her with a voice actress by the same name. This Aimagami was being flooded with emails, DMs, calls, messages, thinking that it was her.
Oh, it was a confused identity.
Her agency had to put out a statement saying, listen guys, first off, condolences to whoever just got killed, but please stop flooding my messages, it's not me. And as you can see, this was pretty damn significant, seeing that this post has over 30 million views. Now, when it comes to Japanese people, the reactions varied greatly. Very shortly after the stabbing incident, people made up a makeshift memorial. But you might have noticed the fact that many of these news outlets, their videos that they posted on YouTube are heavily disliked. And that's because for some Japanese, they're siding way too much with the victim rather than the plight of the person who committed the crime. You can see this in the comments, with this one having over 2,400 likes saying, "There's no way you can borrow 2.5 million yen and just say, I don't know, block? I can't approve of murder, but I can understand the feeling of murderous intent." This post on Twitter echoes a different statement, saying, "Whatever they do to you, don't stab them to death," reminding people that Takano had kicked her when she was down after the stabbing, so don't blame the victim, he's in the wrong here. There was a lot of discussion in the comments section of the article on Yahoo Japan detailing the incident. The most upvoted ones echoed the fact that yes, they do feel sorry that she had to be murdered, but at the same time, they felt sorry for the perpetrator. So as you can see, this is a very complex situation. It's
this
not
whole
black and
situation
white
was
at
fucked
all.
up.
And in the end, I think it doesn't have to be. I think multiple things can be true at once. It's true that murder is too far. He is definitely wrong for that. But at the same time, it's not like she was innocent either. She manipulated him hard, and she was really good at it. making many people wonder if she had done it before and if there are other victims. It's just unfortunate that we couldn't conclude this without any bloodshed. Guys, be safe out there, and if someone asks you for money, know your limits, because if it's too good to be true, then it probably is, okay? Stay safe out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video whenever that is. I love you. Mwah.
Okay, so that's the voice actress right there, I believe. Yeah, so that whole situation was fucked up. So what we learned is basically the idol slash streamer, influencer, whatever you want to call her, she was not a good person. She basically put that man into debt. Like, she manipulated him, and even at the time when he said, oh yeah, I'm in debt to 2 loan companies, she said, oh here, try this third company, try to get a loan at another company so she could put this guy further in debt. Also, she might have done this to someone before, and maybe that's why she had no conscience towards it, no guilt, no nothing. It was fucked. Like, that's just fucking evil. Like, she knows this guy isn't well. Like, again, a parasocial person that's like that crazy parasocial, especially, is mentally ill. Like, every like crazy parasocial person like that guy, I mean, it was obvious he was not going to be, he wasn't mentally well, where he's just throwing money. Like, anyone who's going to open up a loan to loan their favorite streamer money, or just throw donations at their streamer, because didn't they say he's like donating what was equivalent to $1,000 to her? That guy was clearly already not mentally well. Like, I don't know, maybe he had no one to talk to, so he got super parasocial, or what? Like, that guy should have said no at the first one, even if she would try to manipulate him and get upset, or I don't know. I don't know how his mind worked, but he needed to say no at the start, but at the same time, that wasn't going to happen, and this idol knew that. And look where it led down to. Anyway, sorry. I kind of just wanted to talk about this because this whole situation was fucked. I know this happened, like, again, this video was like 3 weeks old, but it was fucked. Completely fucked. Anyway. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Ooh.